Let's open with a word of prayer. Holy God, we want to thank you for your goodness and mercy. We ask that you would guide, direct, and bless us. On this holy Sabbath day. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. I'm not sure if this following term you use in France. I'll write it out on the board. We've all heard of Generation X, Generation Z, things like that. So I don't know if you've heard of baby boomers. Yeah, that's a French concept. Does anybody know the years? Approximately. How do we do this? Who's Natasha or Ria?
Avec celui-là, ok. So it would be from the 40s to 59. 40s to 40s. 1940.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So people give different start and end dates. So I put 46 because that's when what happened? End of the Second World War, yes? So lots of people have died. All the soldiers have gone back home. And most of the economies worldwide are destroyed and they're going to rebuild. And part of that rebuilding is to encourage people to have more children. Because we like chiasms, I'm going to put 64. So some people might put it a little bit earlier, but I put 64. So the reason I mention this, there was a recent article that spoke about how baby boomers became so rich. With the implication that I'll just call it the current generation. I know there have been several since then. But essentially, the children of baby boomers are never going to be as wealthy as their parents or the boomers. And there are clear societal reasons for that. They economists, politicians, social scientists, they can't find any way that the children of these baby boomers will be as wealthy as their parents. And that includes many of you. There's just no way you're going to be able to catch up. There seems to be something unique that happened in that 20-year period that allowed people to become wealthy. So I've mentioned about baby boomers. And another term I want us to just briefly consider is intergenerational wealth. So who can tell me what that means? What is intergenerational wealth? So I know it's 2 words on the board, but it's really 3 words. Intergenerational and then wealth. So we know what the last word means. It means money. So what does intergenerational mean? Who wants to? Sophie? Yeah.
Maybe I would say it's the sharing of wealth between generations, transmission of wealth between different generations.
Yes, exactly that.
Right, just time for the translators after I speak. The translators just need time after I speak to translate.
Sorry, I keep forgetting. Yes. All good? Okay, so not good. We have a technical problem.
On just on the translators are asking if you meant intergeneral or intergenerational.
I said intergenerational, but I wrote something else. And no one spotted it. Okay, so hopefully that's better. Thank you, whoever picked that up. Are we okay? Not yet. Are we back? So, apologize for the technical hiccup we had. So, I said the right word, but I wrote the wrong thing on the board. It's intergenerational. And Sophie defined what that was. It's I'm going to use it in the framework of wealth. It's transferring the wealth from one generation to another. Everybody understands how that works. We might think of inheritance, parents leaving their wealth to their children. You're all familiar with how that works. You all have your views on that, I assume. Does anybody want to make a comment on their views of intergenerational wealth? The transfer of wealth from one generation to another. And if anybody's got any views on that? Natasha?
So it creates a form of inequality. It will be harder if, for those who don't have wealth through their parents, de pouvoir, to somehow be exposed or have any richness or wealth.
Anyone else? In English, there's a term that they use, in parenthesis. They call it old money and new money. So I don't know if you've not heard of those terms, I don't know if you can guess what they mean. Old money would be money that's intergenerational, stayed in the family. Everybody get that? See why it would be called old? It's been in the family for a long time. And new money would be someone in the family, we'll say Generation X, that person creates their own wealth. So in the context of the family, it's new money that's there. So this idea, this idea of intergenerational wealth. So Natasha said it causes inequalities. So I want to ask, how do you maintain that? So I'm going to take the term intergenerational wealth. I hope we understand it's not just from the baby boomers to the next generation. It's about keeping control of the money, the wealth, whatever form it is in, and maintaining control of that wealth. Everybody can see that? So if you've got all this money, where do you want the money to go? using this model? Where does it have to go? So Tamina said the next generation, but I want it a little bit more specific than the next generation. That is correct. So I've got all this money as a baby boomer. I'm going to pass away. Where do I want my money to go? To whom do I want the money to go? You've got to put your hand up. I'll put your hands up.
So it's no, she meant it's spread from generation to the children.
So we want to give it to the children. Sophie? Same thing? So I'm going to put it another way. That answer was correct. I'm going to phrase it this way. Keep it in this it? The family. We need to keep it in the family. So if you want to keep money in the family, then you need to be really careful and focused about the family. Who's part of the family and who is not part of the family. See that? So once you start thinking about this issue, I'm going to say this important issue, you can see why it's important. I'm not sure what the term you use here in France. In the UK, they call it the surname. Or last name. And I just heard family name. So everybody knows what that is? That's how you control who's in the family and who is not in the family. Does that make sense? So once you start changing your family name from one generation to another, you can lose track of who's in the family and who is not. What's a really easy way to control or manage the family? Intergenerationally speaking. What's the easy way to do that? To keep the family constant. How would you do that? Sophie? Oh, so who had the hand up? Oh, Tamina?
Take it. Marriage?
Okay, so you get married to have more babies, more children. Anything else? Sophie, were you going to say marriage? So I'm going to say if you want to maintain the family, so you know what the family and who the family is, it's good to maintain one thing. The name. You maintain the family name. First name, you can call them what they want, what you want. The first name, you call them what you want. But if you maintain the surname, you maintain the family. And therefore, you can control the wealth. Are you okay with that? So, we all know in almost all societies, the way you do that by controlling the name of the family is you pick one name and you maintain it. How do you do that, Elisa?
C'est bon? Maurice, le micro? Okay. By having sons.
Okay, so Elisa said by having sons. I want it. I want us to develop that thought. So we've chosen. You have chosen. Humans have chosen that this name that's going to be fixed to maintain intergenerational wealth the way they'll do that is to run the name through the boys, through the sons. Not to give the name, to run the family name through sons. So whether or not it's deliberate, we'll say it's not deliberate. We'll say there's a law of unintended consequences. You didn't mean to do it. There's a So what we're going to say is that the family will remain through the lineage or the generation of the men. And when a girl is born, this woman, even though she is given the correct name at the beginning, when she marries, we've got to consider what happens to the family money that's intergenerational that belongs to her. When she marries, now there's another man that's joined the family. Now you've got two families that are joined together. So if you were going to organize things and we have two families, these are the parents, not necessarily the fathers. These are the parents. They've both got wealth. So when they have children and they have a male and a female, for whatever reason, society decided that siblings, brothers and sisters, won't marry. I don't know why they chose to do that. I don't know if you have any thoughts of why, but the obvious thing to do would be, in my opinion, to keep the money in the family. The obvious thing to do would be for brothers and sisters to marry, wouldn't it? All really neat and simple. I don't know why society didn't choose to do that. We might all have our own thoughts on that subject. So I'm not asking for your reason, for your opinion on that. It's a fact that in almost every society, forbidden to marry your sibling. So as soon as you make that decision, you will have problems. Because this female now here is going to marry this male, and they're going to produce a new family, family number 3. And the question is, money 1, where's it going to go? And money 2, where is it going to go? We have to, as a society, decide where the money would go. So I'm not asking you why brothers and sisters can't marry. You are engineering society, and you've already made that decision. Once you make that decision, there's a consequence to that. Everybody okay so far? Put your hands up if you're not. Okay. So now you've got 2 families who have to marry because humans are driven to have relationships. So the question is, you tell me, what do we do with the money now? If you were going to design this model, what would you do? Who wants to have a go? Tell me how you're going to plan this society. Who wants to have a go? Aileen? You got to put it higher. Sorry, I didn't see you.
I would say that family 1 gives to their child the money and family 2 gives the money to their child.
La famille donne l'argent à ses enfants et la famille 2 donne l'argent à ses enfants.
Okay. So famille, la famille numéro 1 de l'argent à son enfant et
Ses enfants.
à son enfant et à deux pareil.
So if I understood you correctly,
Donc si je te comprends correctement,
is that what you said?
Yes. Yes.
So everybody keeps their money,
tout le monde garde son argent
and then the male and the female, they take their money when they form family number 3, then they're all good. Do you think that's reasonable?
que c'est raisonnable.
Sound good? All sound good?
C'est auquel pour vous ça semble
Muriel, how would you do it?
si on veut garder l'argent dans une famille,
If we want to keep money in a family. Attends, faut laisser traduire. Vas-y.
il faut choisir un des enfants,
You have to choose one of the children.
soit la fille, soit le garçon.
And so you choose either the boy or the girl.
Okay, so hold that thought.
Je garde cette pensée.
So, family one,
La famille numéro
they were very prudent
un était très prudent
and they got lots of money.
et ils ont beaucoup d'argent.
We'll give them $4 signs.
On leur donne 4 signes du dollar.
So, if they were to give the children the money equally,
Et s'ils veulent donner à leurs enfants, partager l'argent équitablement, également, de façon égale à leurs enfants,
this girl here,
cette femme, là,
she'd get half of the money,
elle devra avoir la moitié,
which is a lot more than what he's bringing into the party.
qui est beaucoup plus que ce que l'homme va amener.
And these parents of these number one parents,
Et ces parents numéro un.
when they marry their daughter
Et quand ils vont marier leur fille
to someone else,
à quelqu'un d'autre,
that daughter tends to leave the family.
cette fille, elle va quitter la famille.
So they would feel
Donc, ils sont complètement
they're losing their money
ils vont sentir qu'ils perdent leur argent.
and they might lose a lot of money.
Et ils pourraient perdre beaucoup d'argent.
And family number two,
Et la famille numéro 2,
because the son
parce que le fils
may tend to stay in that family,
reste dans cette famille,
think of these as being farmers.
disons qu'ils sont des agriculteurs.
And so the son will carry on working the farm.
Le fils va continuer à travailler dans la ferme.
So family number two will think that they're getting number one's money.
Alors la famille numéro 2 va penser qu'ils ont obtenu l'argent de la famille numéro 1.
And number one will think that they're losing money.
Et la famille numéro 1 va penser qu'ils ont perdu de l'argent, qu'elle a perdu de l'argent.
Number two,
Le numéro 2,
the farm,
c'est une ferme.
and when the parents are getting older,
Et quand les parents vieillissent,
who's going to work the land?
qui est-ce qui va travailler dans la ferme?
Because it's a man's job
Parce que c'est le travail d'un homme,
primarily,
premièrement,
labor intensive.
très intense.
So the son will end up taking over from the father.
C'est le frère, le fils qui va succéder au père.
He's going to live on the farm.
Il va vivre dans la ferme.
So when he gets married,
Quand il se marie,
who's going to do the moving?
qui va continuer, il va faire du ménage.
Him or his wife?
Alors, qu'est-ce qui va continuer du moins? C'est lui ou sa femme?
The wife. So wife, daughter number one, on your left, she's going to move. She'll take all of her money to a new farm. And so family number one will think that they've lost half their wealth. Not only will they think it, they actually will. So this nice tractor that they wanted to buy for farm number one is going to be ended up buying a tractor for farm number two. Everybody can see that? So where I've got all these halves, this was Aileen's. suggestion. So I want to ask Aileen, can you see why this might be problematic? And what you might think of is as equality is not equality, because farm number one is losing a lot of money and farm number two is getting an awful lot of money. So it becomes unequal. Yeah? So Muriel said, this won't work. Aileen's model's not going to work. And what was your suggestion, Muriel, again?
I was saying that to maintain money in a family,
il faut choisir à qui on transmet la succession.
you have to choose who you want to have succession.
Soit le garçon, soit la fille.
And so you're going to choose either the boy or the girl.
Mais on ne peut pas partager l'héritage de façon équitable.
But you cannot share equally the heritage between both.
Si on veut maintenir la richesse dans une famille.
If you want to be able to maintain the riches in a family.
Based upon what Muriel said, and this example that I gave, can everybody see what Muriel has said is correct? So you can see, because you're all feminists, that the distribution of wealth from parents to children isn't equal. And Aileen said it's easy to fix. You give them half each. Equality. But in reality, it's not equal. When you start thinking of intergenerational wealth, we've got to think where this all started from. And everybody's got a business. They're all business people. We call them farmers now. That's the main business. And when you live in that type of society, giving the money equally to the boy and the girl you can see ends up not being equal. Anybody got any comments or thoughts of how we developed a society that looks so unequal, that seems to treat women so badly? It's to maintain intergenerational wealth. Keep it in the family, so all your efforts that you've made don't get wasted. I'm not asking if you agree or not. What I do want us to see or recognize is the tension between the two models. Anybody got any thoughts or comments? Amina.
Now the dowry system came to my mind.
Le système de la dot
Because it almost seems like to me now that it's a form of equality or justice now.
Parce que maintenant, j'ai l'impression que c'est une forme d'égalité ou de justice.
When you say there's a form of equality and justice,
Quand tu dis qu'il y a une forme d'égalité ou de justice,
you mean in the dowry system?
tu veux dire dans le système de la dot?
What were you referring to?
À quoi fais-tu réfléchir?
About what equality were you talking of?
De quelle égalité fais-tu référence?
When the son gets all the money so he can continue,
Quand le fils possède tout l'argent afin que vous puissiez continuer.
it's that the girl, the daughter, also gets a little bit.
Afin que la fille puisse obtenir aussi une petite partie.
And doesn't lose out completely.
Et Et
Doesn't lose out completely.
donc on ne perd pas complètement tout.
So, different societies have different dowry models.
Différentes sociétés ont un système de dot différent.
The one you referred to was that the daughter gets some money
La fille obtient une partie de l'argent.
There are other societies that do it differently. Son number 2, son. On the picture, this is M number 2. In many societies, he has to pay for his wife because she cost a lot of money to produce. And parent number 1 have to recoup their money. So there's different models to the dowry system. Either way, whatever way you look at it, all of it's designed to maintain this structure. Who thinks this structure is wrong? This business-based structure. We'll call it an agricultural society. If you lived in an agricultural society, do you think this is wrong, the way they do it? Sophie?
I would have said that it's not wrong. C'est tout?
Yeah. When you think about it, we might say it looks ugly. We might say that it might appear unfair. But I think it's hard to say it's wrong. Because we have to live in this world. And when we speak about wealth here, we've got to be careful how we think about what wealth is. Remember, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We've discussed that many times in the past. And originally, it wasn't happiness, was it? What's the original word? Property. Your farm, if you like. It could mean other things. So when we think about farmers now, Big farm number one, small farm number two.
La famille numéro un, il a une ferme plus petite pour la famille numéro 2.
Farm number one, they were lucky, perchance, or they were really hard workers.
Des travailleurs de, de très bons, des travailleurs réguliers, des durs travailleurs.
Farm number two,
Ferme numéro 2,
they had a lot of bad luck, or they're lazy. Farm number one,
numéro 1,
good luck, hard workers. Number two, bad luck, lazy.
ils sont paresseux.
It doesn't matter why. The fact is, their wealth is substantially different. And if you had earned all that money, would you want to just give it away to some stranger? If it's your farm, I don't think you would. So this is why we've got this system. We've spoken about keeping it in the family. We've spoken about the way to do that is to maintain the name. So when you think about farms, parents number one, farm number one, that son, M1, they're going to live on the farm. When the parents die, they'll move into the master bedroom. Daughter number one, she's going to marry somebody. Either her husband will move to farm number one, or they'll stay in farm number two with their parents. Someone has to move. And the question is, why was it all skewed? Why was it asymmetric towards men and not women? Why was that? Your thoughts. Why is it all biased towards men? Uriel?
So what comes to my mind? It's maybe because we think that it's the men who can take care of the farm because of their physical strength.
Any more? There's no birth control. Humans don't understand their bodies well. Plus, people die quite early. Compared to today, the average life expectancy might be 50 or 40. that would drive you as a society to do what? If you're going to die early, what would that do?
You you want to have as many children as possible early on?
Il faut avoir beaucoup d'enfants le plus vite possible.
You die early, you marry early.
Jeune, tu te maries jeune.
And if you don't know teenagers,
Les adolescents,
that they don't handle their emotions so well. Handle.
leurs émotions.
So without birth control,
De la naissance,
young marriages, you're going to have a lot of children. So if you're going to have a lot of children, who's going to take care of those children?
avoir beaucoup d'enfants, qui devra prendre soin de tous?
So the point that was made that men are stronger is true,
C'est que les hommes sont plus forts, oui, c'est vrai.
but once you start adding several layers on top of that,
À mettre plusieurs niveaux sur cette pensée.
that a woman might have 6, 7, 10 children,
Par 6, 7, voire 10 enfants.
that if she married when she was 18,
Mariée quand elle avait 18 ans.
that could be 15 to 20 years of her life just having babies.
15 à 20 ans de sa vie pour n'avoir que des enfants.
So you can see how all of those things, when you add them together,
Lorsque vous les ajoutez l'une après l'autre,
it means the woman will remain in the house and the man will do all the, what we will call, the work of maintaining the farm.
il va rester à la maison et que l'homme va s'occuper de la ferme, il va faire tout le travail.
Then they start getting specialized skill,
Des compétences spécialisées, spéciales.
Ellen White will say, don't marry a woman unless
Ne vous mariez pas une femme à moins qu'elle.
she can cook bread. So you can see where all of this comes from.
Tout cela vient.
Muriel.
I just wanted to add that women can die while giving birth also.
Yes. And so if the wife dies, the family can't function any longer.
Ce n'est ne peut plus fonctionner.
So the farmer, the man,
L'homme
is going to be forced to get a new wife.
obligé d'avoir une autre femme.
So I want us to see, despite our moral framework,
De notre cadre moral,
the way we think what is right or wrong, what is equality,
quelle est l'égalité, ce qui est juste, ce qui est pas bien.
we live in a world that's been created by our parents, multiple generations of parents.
Qui a été parent de plusieurs et plusieurs générations.
And it may be an archaic model, an old model,
Très ancien.
but I want us to see it's a very logical one.
Il s'agit d'un modèle logique.
This article about baby boomers being so rich compared to all the generations after them
Sur les baby boomers, ça a été très riche comparé à tous les autres intergénérationnels.
speaks about the economic reasons for that.
La raison économique.
But I want to look at this in a slightly different way.
De manière un peu
Because we view families very differently now.
Considérons la famille d'une manière très différente.
And we have a very different society.
Une société très différente.
And if you have, well, say you have a good job, you work for a company,
Eh ben, un bon travail, vous travaillez dans une bonne compagnie.
it's very expensive to live in this world. It's very expensive to live.
Vivre dans ce monde, c'est très cher.
The model is very different. If you went to a financial advisor,
Un conseiller
they would tell you, plan your pension,
pension,
make sure it's big enough,
pension de retraite soit bien suffisante.
because you're going to live much longer now than you did in the past.
Parce que beaucoup plus longtemps que cela ne se faisait à l'époque.
And most people want to retire early while they've got health.
Personnes préfèrent rentrer en retraite quand elles ont encore la santé, bien avant l'âge.
Maybe you've done well, and your pension is €1 million. That's how much your fund is worth.
La valeur de vos
And they will recommend,
conseillères financières vont recommander
once your pension starts,
retraite commencera
that you aim from day one to have €1 million.
donc le premier jour avec 1 million.
And then that €1 million is all used up. It's all finished by the time you die.
Ce million d'euros se termine une fois à votre mort.
And if there's anything left over, you can give it to your children.
Transmettre, le passer à vos enfants.
We have a very different model today in the 21st century
Un modèle différent dans notre siècle
about intergenerational wealth.
générationnel.
If you're super wealthy, you're in a different place.
Que vous êtes à un endroit différent,
We're talking about normal people.
normal.
So, what I want to say is the reason why intergenerational wealth will come to its end, its death,
La richesse intergénérationnelle arrivera à sa fin.
is because of people like Aileen,
Comme a dit,
who want to view equality in a completely different way.
donc l'égalité d'une façon tout à fait différente.
People like Aileen, they don't care about money,
L'argent,
they care about the quality of their life,
la qualité de leur vie,
not selfishly, but it's about the life that you live.
pour la vie que vous menez.
As David says, the 70 years. If you have that model, the right thing to do is for parents number one to earn all their money and spend all their money,
Et de le dépenser.
not to build this huge, valuable farm and give it to their children.
Cette ferme ayant beaucoup de valeur et de la transmettre à leur enfant.
And so now the children, they don't grow up thinking, oh, I've got this farm.
Oh, je possède cette ferme.
If you're a boy, and if you're a girl, you're praying, can I marry a rich farmer, please? You don't have to have those prayers now,
On n'a pas besoin d'avoir ces prières.
because whether you're a boy or a girl, You have to stand on your own feet,
vous tenir debout par vous-même,
not rely upon your parents' wealth.
sur la richesse des parents.
They're two very different models. You have to ask yourself, as a radical feminist, which model do you want? This intergenerational wealth model,
Richesse intergénérationnelle.
or you stand on your own feet and you don't rely upon your family,
Vous souvenez vous-même à vos propres besoins sans dépendre de vos parents.
your parents. And if your parents now, how are you educating and training your children,
Formez vos enfants,
especially your girls and your boys? They're very different. Are you training them that when they come of age, when you pass away, there is not going to be any money for them?
pas d'argent.
It might be, everyone's going to have some residual income, but there's not going to be some wealth.
Il y aura quelques euros, mais ça ne sera pas une richesse.
We're in a world now that's transitioning. There are many reasons why it's transitioning.
Lesquels ce monde, il y a une transition
Civil rights movement,
des droits civiques,
the feminist movements. Where do you mark them? They're all in this time period when the baby boomers come to their end.
période où les baby boomers arrivent à leur fin.
This movement says it's a radical feminist movement, yet many of us still have the mindset of a patriarchal system, which I'm calling the intergenerational wealth model.
Modèle de richesse intergénérationnelle.
When I say patriarchal, I don't mean that in an evil way.
Système patriarcal, je ne le dis pas d'une mauvaise façon.
I mean it in the way that we've discussed,
De la manière dont nous venons d'en discuter.
which I think you can all see is logical, practical, even sensible.
C'est tout ce que c'est d'une manière pratique, sensible et logique.
Perhaps even morally correct.
Manière d'un point de vue moral, correct.
The world is very different now. And as we respond to it, as it molds and shapes us,
Répondons de la manière dont le monde nous forme, nous modèle.
you can see why we're more able to think about equality.
Pourquoi nous sommes plus en mesure de penser, de parler de l'égalité.
So we've run out of time. This afternoon, just want to tie back to some thoughts we had when we began the subject of adultery.
De le relier avec des pensées que nous avons eues sur le sujet de l'adultère.
Because when we spoke about that subject initially,
Parler du sujet de l'adultère dès le début.
I compared two Bible verses. I don't know if anybody can remember what those verses were.
Deux versets bibliques et je ne sais pas si quelqu'un pourrait se rappeler de ces versets.
One from the Old, one from the New.
L'Ancien Testament et un du Nouveau Testament.
Anybody remember them?
Est-ce que
Sophie, you give us the first one.
Je crois que c'était Exode 20, verset 14. I think it was Exodus 20, verse 14.
Good.
oui, bien.
And someone give me the New Testament one.
Et quelqu'un peut me donner celui du Nouveau
Matthew?
Matthew 5:27.
Good.
Matthieu 5, 27.
So when we discuss that,
Nous avons discuté du sujet.
you remember I made the observation
Cette observation
that in the Old Testament passage, it was skewed towards women,
dans le passage de l'Ancien Testament, on a utilisé le mot femme.
and in the New Testament, it was the other way round.
Le nouveau, c'était l'inverse.
So in our next study, we'll talk a little bit about this Old Testament model,
Prochaines études, nous allons parler donc du modèle de l'Ancien Testament.
so that we can see why it was that way,
Comprendre pourquoi c'est écrit ainsi.
because of the world in which they lived,
Le monde dans lequel ils vivent.
how society had been carefully crafted, carefully created
La société a été créée de façon prudente et soigneuse.
to deal with the world in which they lived,
Le monde dans lequel ils vivent.
and how now things are very different
Sont très différents.
and it has consequences. One is that we can be much more equal,
On peut être beaucoup plus
which is good. And two, we're going to be a lot poorer,
va être beaucoup plus pauvre.
which isn't so good. So you have to take your choice: money, and we'll call it patriarchy, or poverty and equality. Let's pray. Oh, they're choosing already. Good. Holy God, we thank you. Help us to understand our own hearts, to understand our own motivations, what drives us to make the decisions that we take. In this brave new world where we don't have the safety and protection of our parents,
La protection de nos parents.
we can have the freedom of equality. But equality demands a lot from us. We want to follow your will. We ask for wisdom and for strength and endurance to be able to really put equality into practice in our own lives, in the lives of our families and children, and as we create a movement that needs to follow these ideas as well. In Jesus' name, Amen.